What you see here is a beautiful built-in HO model railroad. They had to be moved because the owner was selling it. So the original owner of this model railroad had hired another company to dismantle it and put it in pods to ship to the new owner. We were hired by the new owners to put it back together again. Here is where the fun begins. Okay, the recreation of the railroad. Week 1 of 3 weeks. Well, as we go down the stairs and now we go into this room, as you can see, it's pretty good space. It's smaller than the other space, so we have to condense the railroad. We got 2 closets. We got a heater in the back, and we got a little bump out here with the plumbing up top. We also have no plugs. No electricity yet. There's one over here on this wall. Don't know if it really works yet, but we'll find out. The others are still trying to be installed. And okay, we got no lights on the ceiling except for one light down near the door. Okay. Okay, the other thing we got is we got 2 pods. And we got the garage where Scott's in. And they don't have the keys for the pods. So we gotta wait for that now too. Oh well. Well, we got the first pod open here. As you can see, it's pretty much, who knows what's got damaged, what hasn't got damaged from the move. I don't know what to say. Definitely wasn't organized, and no shelves for anything. This will be a very big challenge to put back together. It was cut up, and almost, it looks like it was thrown in the pod. Man, here's the second little pod. This one's not so bad. Got some, obviously got damaged roundhouse a bit.
Structures.
And but most things looked kind of intact because they're in boxes. Okay, I'm gonna close this pot up because we're not gonna need it tonight. Okay, what we're doing is setting up everything like it originally was outside. As you can see, and having fun trying to just reset it up like it was originally so we can figure out what we gotta do. Jigsaw puzzle. Watch your fingers, Scott. There you go. Yep, that's where it went. Whew. Well, here's the plan we came up with. We have access to the HVAC system in the closet, as well as a door coming into the room. And yes, the plug does work for us. Now we're starting to set up the railroad in the sections that we cut down so it fits in the room. So we started with the back right corner. Then we added the module pieces that we made. You can see there's really no scenery, just dirt, ballast, and a little bit of grass. You'll see where we had to cut again to make it shorter to fit in. Now this piece is right before the door coming into the room. Now here's what happened to the turntable module. Isn't that a shame? So we had to put it up one by one to piece it all together again. You can see it in the back left corner. And we're building it, coming back around the HVAC system. Here's the access that we have for it. And the turntable section is back up and starting to build out to the front door. Look at how close we came to the HVAC system. So there's the turntable area, back into somewhat of a form. We just have to level the turntable once we put it in. This area is going to be the city again. That slot there is because they had a mountain there before, but we're going to make it a city area. And there's a yard. You can see the lineup we have to do. Well, because we had to take out 3 feet of the yard to fit. Just place the roundhouse in the parking lot on the turntable area. So, but you can see now the roundhouse, not in place yet, but we'll put it in place. This is kind of a long shot that you can see the turntable. And again, we have to piece together all the track. And that's the section that we're going to take down. There's another shot of it. And we're going to make a water feature there eventually. Here's another angle of it. A little more of a close-up. So we got some work to do. There is the water feature that we're going to put in. That was in a different section of the layout before. There's a long view of what we finished. And this is the last shot. And then we head home for the next week. Well, before we went back to Long Island again, we made this control shelf in the shop, plus we made this framework so we can add that turnaround section. And now we're packing up and ready to go to Long Island for the second trip. Our task this time is to try to get all the track back together again. And now I started to put in the new section we made at the shop. There's the frame. Make sure it's level. Here's a section of the yard that Timothy was working on. He had to scrape up all the track. Here's a section where we ripped up some track and put down some new road bed and track. Again, trying to seam everything back together again. Here's a new section that I'm putting in so we can turn around the tracks. And while we were working, I still had to bring some lights because the electricians didn't put in the lighting system yet. Now you can see I'm starting the sweep of the curve. So we're coming along, and here we have some more track and added the road bed to seam it together again. Here's another angle of that. Let's move on to a video to show you some action. This is the new bench work to hopefully connect to that switch there. And Timothy's redone some of this track work. For here, for the yard.
Oh, we gotta drop it. Yes, we gotta drop it.
As you can see, these guys don't line up at all, which is why he had actually scraped the wood up. And that took him an hour and a half just to do just these 2 tracks yesterday. Tough. I don't know how some of the steam engines worked on this when you get kinks in almost every track. Okay.
That's why it looks weird. This is crooked.
right, well,
It's warped, it's not straight.
Oh.
Remember I was saying it didn't
Okay.
straight?
trying to save that water feature.
That's fine.
Okay.
I can't. Here you go. I can lift up a little bit while
No,
you
you're all
slide
set.
those.
Go ahead. No, I did.
Oh, they're all set. Okay.
Well, you know what we can do? What we can do is we can screw these on to the lift out right now, and then we can adjust these to exactly what you want. So don't bother trying to line up right now. Let's just
Okay. What
See
about
what
like
I'm
the
saying?
track line though?
don't worry about it.
All right.
You're gonna have to relay that track
You're not going
anyways.
far. I mean, it's close enough right now, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like inches off. It's just okay.
No. Yeah.
So let me screw these pieces onto this,
Okay.
and then we can play around with the.
How's your finger?
What do you think, Jonathan? A lot of fun. Okay, a little update here. And we've had to cut in the switch here. And it's basically going to be one of the main lines going around the curve where Timmy's working right now. Down there, coming down this track here, where we replaced a lot of the main line there and around on the outside, and it will come back. And basically the track's going to come back from there, and then it will go on to here. This concerns me because this switch might have to get replaced. First of all, it's kinked here, and it's a number 4, which means that like steam engines and stuff will not take a number 4 because that's too sharp of a radius there. You might have to pull that for the main line. And I'm concerned about this switch down here too, and that one, which I have soldered onto there, going around and made connection with what we'll call the yard down that end. We have just laid the road bed down for that, and so it's gluing, and so we're going to be going to lunch shortly. Update on the water area. They'll be cutting off this to kind of match the face of the layout. As you see, we got a track alignment problem, which we're going to have to take that track out and recurve it and get them to go over a bridge, which we got to find, and connect to the main lines down that way, down here, which, as you can see, they had to excavate all this stuff. You know, instead of gluing it down, it was pretty much like this rock hard plaster. The ballast is just solid glue, which made it difficult to peel up, but we did it. And as you can see, most of the main line has been replaced as we go down. Some of these switches do concern me. They're number 4s, and steam engines do not like number 4s, really. We got a lot of kinks situations. Don't like the kinks. I like the rock group, the kinks, but I don't like track kinks, which will cause derailments. All right, that's it for this update.
That's true.
Well, here we are with no lights, but Scott's working on the bridge. Got to finish up the track there and the inner rail. And got to clean up a little bit. Turn on these lights so we can see what's going on. Still got to put in the turntable, which is going to be one of my jobs today. And over here around the heater. Didn't do any of the yard yet here that I wanted to do, but we have connected this track, and I did mount the switch tortoise machine underneath there, and as you can see, it's a little, needs to be cleaned up too. So, and back here, I still want to see if I can replace some of these switches over here because it's a main line. We put in this one, which is now connected all of that track. Okay. Here Timmy is really clearing out the yard here. He has to use this tool just to try to get through the plaster so we can get to the bare wood to relay the track. So what you doing, Jonathan?
Just clearing out the
Doing a little nest of wires here.
This is a Miller Engineering sign, apparently.
Got a little wiring to do. And Scott installed the bridge, and it does flip up and down. Need to power it still, and we put in this whole new suite down to the main line. And this box car is just a little test one that we got, and I derailed it. There it goes. Good. So, you're just gonna have to probably add more water down this area later when we do the scenery. All right, working on the main line is our old switch, because that's a number 4, and I took it out and replaced it with the number 6. Got the roundhouse. I put it on top of the pads that I put down, basically the road bed, to level off the turntable best I can. It's not glued down, and neither is this roundhouse. As we see, we have some issues. We got missing pieces, all the roof, most of all the front roof, and the headlights in there, and so we got the wire down here, but you can see I may have to replace these tracks. We'll have to find out. A lot of them are loose. See, like that. That guy's loose. And the front's been, well, kind of chewed up. So I have a feeling I'm gonna just replace all of them. That way I know they're good. And hopefully we can figure out if the turntable still runs good. Okay. I'm still thinking about changing out those 2 switches there. But we get all this in, all glued down, and we still haven't got anything over here yet. And we are thinking about adding these modules to the end here. Okay. All right, so the layout now is pretty much installed. We got the fascia up, as you can see, and the big peninsula here. We got the water feature there in, and replaced a lot of track, as you can see. Down here, we really had to realign everything because we took 3 feet out here, so all these tracks had to get realigned up. So we still got more work to do over there, because we got the sand dell to put in. The roundhouse still needs to be put in with the turntable. Hopefully it works. Our controller will be on this side. And here with the passenger station. Swing around. You can get it from this angle. As you can see how we had to realign the tracks. It's too bad you can't see the wood right now because the wood was all wavy. Woo, woo, woo. And hopefully the trains won't be wavy. All right, as we go around to the new turnaround section, as you can see, we still got to take care of those tracks over there. And we got to add a whole new section where we got our supplies right now behind the heater. And this whole section down here was all added on today, the last day. And let's see, here we go. So we'll figure out where that's gonna go next time and the scenery that will go back there. And oh yeah, here's our track that goes to nowhere. It's got a bumper on the end. It had feeders. Feeders are right there. But don't know how it went together before. We just take it out. All right, as we travel along the route, a few crossovers, we've got some dead ends we gotta fix. And around. Okay, as we wrap up the second trip here on Long Island, and as you can see, the railroad's all put together the way we had designed it. The tracks are put together again. A lot of the wiring is done. The scene for the water feature is there. Now we got to put the structures on and run trains for the next visit. Okay. Well, this is a photo slideshow of the work that we did on this trip. I don't have any video, but the photos do justice to it. A lot of the scenes have been redone now. All the buildings are all placed where we would like them. We still got some work to do for scenes, getting trees in there, bushes, people detail, wire the buildings, wire back the street lights. So there's still some work that we have to do to get this railroad back up and running again. And this is amazing because this is week 3, you see in the photos of, and yet this size railroad, if it was modular, we'd be able to put it together in not 3 weeks, but more like 3 to 4 days. When you build a model railroad, you should make it modular. And what I mean by that is to make it in sections, small sections. It could be 3 by 6 to fit easily through a door. And when you wire it with terminal strips or Molex plugs that you can easily just unplug. Now in most cases, your buildings and scenery could just stay right on the layout. You don't have to take them off. So one of the things you really want to make sure is you have all your scenery glued down really well. That way nothing falls off when you're going to move the railroad. So keep these basic tips in mind when you're building your model railroad. So I'll let you watch the rest of the photo slideshow, but we'll have a video on how to start up the NCE system, throw some switches, and we'll be running some trains. Then I'll also show you how to index the Walters turntable.
Okay, so to turn everything on is the power strip right here. Just turn it on. That turns everybody on. Some things to know down here. These circuit boards here are circuit breakers, and they're for 4 districts of the layout. If there's a problem, like a car derails or something metal is on the track, these little red lights will light up in the section that the problem is. So if you do experience a problem and you look over, there's a red light on, that means that something is shorting. So that means maybe a car's derailed or maybe something metal is on the track. So that's what these are for. Now, and of course to shut it all down is just shut it down, that's all. So it's all in the power strip here. So that's how you shut it on and off, first off. Now,
we got a bright boy. You show him the bright boy.
oh yeah, so this track eraser here is for cleaning the track. And what we suggest, if you have to clean the rails, is you can just rub it across the top, get it nice and shiny, and then what you do is you take a rag and put a little bit of rubbing alcohol on it, and you can just wipe it off like that, and that helps pick up gets rid of any dirt. So that's totally fine. So we'll leave a rag down here as well. Anyway, so to start up the trains, there's 2 trains on the layout right now, at the moment, and they're on a mainline loop, on the same loop. They're chasing each other, going the same direction. But their addresses are the numbers actually on the layout. So this engine is 9537. And on the remote here, which you can unplug from the panel and plug in anywhere, and that turns it on, it's already selected up here. It says Loco 9537. So if you push the wheel up, then the train will start to move. Now, if you want a different locomotive, you would press Select Loco, and then enter the number of the address. So, right now, to start him up, you just make him move like that.
Scroll wheel.
Yep, it's like a volume
All the
knob.
buttons beside it.
Now, for sound on this one, sometimes they come on automatically, like the other train already has sound on. But for this one, if you press 8, then his sound will come on. He's a little quiet, but it is on. So with the sound on, you can use the whistle button and the bell button. You press it once, it turns the bell on. You press it again, it shuts it off. If you hold down the horn button, it's the horn. The headlight, you can press and it will turn on the light in front of the train. And from there, you're able to run the trains, and you can go as fast or slow as you want. The other thing that you need to know is if you need to throw a turnout, you look at these numbers here. This is the number of the turnout. And what you do is you hit select accessory right here. Gives you a number, and you would say 23, enter. And then 1 would be the normal route or the straight route, and 2 would be the diverged route. So there you go. So that just threw it that way. If you want to throw it again, you hit select accessory. 23 is already there. Enter, and then press 1. And then it just threw back. Now, if you wanted to make sure that all the mainline accessories throw the right way without going to every single one, you would hit macro, and what this does is it throws multiple accessories all at the same time. You would hit macro 1 and then enter, and that throws all the ones you need to have thrown. Okay?
So the macro is throwing all the main lines, so you can just run around the loop.
Yep, that should be all set, and that's all you need to know for running them. So at that point, you can throttle it up, and then you can also throttle the other train up, which is already in the remote.
Show them the recall.
You can switch between them quickly by pressing the recall button. If you press it, it switches over to 6758, which is the other train on the way up. So he's over there, and you can speed him up the same way. speed up, stop. So you can just watch the two of them together and just make sure, and if you have to switch between them, press recall. And it toggles between the two of them.
Let's see the recall.
Toggles between the two of them. See? The two numbers. And that's all you need to know. And you can even start them and you can unplug and move to a different panel and they don't stop or anything. They'll keep going and you can just plug in wherever you need to be. So that way you can keep things moving and you can move around too. So,
All right.
there's a holder here. And that's
you,
all you need to know.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Go over that one. Let's take a video of this.
Recreation of the harbor scene. Why don't you come in and you can explain. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn about the turntable controller. There's a turntable, it's all set. When you first power it on, you'll see just a light. So wherever it's going to be, it'll be there. Sometimes what happens, it will go off on the index. It's a little tired, it's an older turntable. It's actually one of the first that Walters came out with. So you need to find the 0 point. So the 0 point is a little button down here on the controller. You hold that 0 point. This will flash, as you can see, and then you let go, and then the bridge starts spinning. And what it's going to do, it's going to find the 0 point. That's where everything lines up after it finds it. So there it is. That's the 0 point there. So now what we do is, if you wanted to go to any of the tracks on here, it's just so it could show you the end with the cab on it down there. That's what they call the head end, and the tail end is over there with no cab. So let's say we want the cab end to come to the lead track into the pit, where if you look down the line, there's a locomotive that can actually go into it. So what we're going to do is go back to the turntable controller, and it doesn't matter which direction you want. Since the cab end is close to the lead track, I'm going to spin it this way so it will come around. You just hold the button, and as you can see, it starts spinning. You just hold the button until you get to your closest track that you want to do. So I'm just going to hold it, let it spin. And it's coming up to the lead tracks now. I'm going to go to the second one. So after I pass this first one, I let go of the button. Now I let go of the button, and it will creep and line up. So as you can see, it should be lined up with that track. So now we'll take the locomotive and run it onto the track. There it goes. Sometimes that locomotive does that, but it's not anything to do with the power. But now it's on the bridge, so I'll have Kimberly go and shoot from the other angle. Okay. So as you can see from this angle, you can see the locomotive's on the bridge, and let's say we want the locomotive to go into the diesel shop, which is right there. So I'm going to put the appropriate arrow on, which is counterclockwise, and I'm just letting it run, and I'll take my fingers off right now, and it will line up with that track. So it just lined up. You see that? So let's drive it in forward to the engine shop. There it goes. So he's now in the engine shop. So that's basically how the turntable works, just like that. Okay, just a side note, just in case, sometimes what happens is the index of the track goes off and it's not quite aligned. So we'll show you an example. So Kim should zoom up on that, where it's not just quite aligned up yet. So what I'm going to do, in that case, you just go to the direction button on the turntable, just press it just for a second, and it should be lining up. Does that look good now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we drive forward. And there we go. So that's the same thing basically for any track. You just got to make sure that they are lined up. The turntable is an older one, and so it might miss a line sometimes. Most of the time, the index is good. All right.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, and also subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you'll be up to date when we post a new video. If you want to see more, check out some of the other videos on this channel, and also visit our website, slatrains.com. There you'll find updates on the current projects we have going on now, and also contact information so that you can reach out to us and we can start building your dream model railroad.